Hey everyone, Tony here again. Wanted to bring you another stock. This one's one that has been, it's up 24% on the day due to some earnings. So actually, let me just go straight there. So Domino's Pizza. I'm not even sure if I said it was Domino's, but yeah, we're talking about Domino's today. DPZ, Domino's Pizza shares en route to a record close after earnings and sales beat expectations. So basically, it kind of did awesome. So net income totaled 1.29 million, or up 3.12 dollars per share, up from 112 last year. So that's a very nice increase. Adjusted EPS rose almost 20% to 3.13, ahead of the 2.98 consensus. So revenue was up. Basically, everything is up. So that's great news. So that just basically just happened about an hour ago. We can look here, yeah, real quick on the, you can see that big gap up here. And actually, yeah, you still can't see my cursor, but yeah, there's a nice gap up. We'll take a look at the charts. On the quick look here on the fundamentals, again, this is just a really quick bird's eye view, but if it's in black, neutral, red, bad, green, good. So most of this item that I care about here, like the PE, the book to share, or book value, uh, basically all of this is neutral, so nothing too crazy. The analysts are recently bullish. Let me see here. Yeah, so we have neutral to buy to neutral. Everybody else seems to be outperform, buy, neutral, buy. Um, One downgrade. Everybody else seems to be positive. The average price targets, I mean, it looks like they're going for maybe 300, 305, give or take. That looks like to be the average. So overall, the analysts like it. News, obviously, we have the fourth quarter earnings beats. That's why we had a big gap. And here's where I really care. So yeah, if you don't know what Domino's Pizza does, then I mean it's in the name. So Domino's Pizza, through its subsidiaries, operates as a pizza delivery company in the United States and internationally. It operates in three segments: U.S. stores, international franchise, and supply chain. The company offers pizzas under the Domino's brand name through company-owned and franchise stores. They have 16,000 stores, 85 markets, yada, yada, yada. So what I really put some weight on is the insider trading. So insider trading looks like a lot of people are selling. Um, so let's see here. So yeah, I mean that's kind of like the big picture. If I see a lot of sales, it just gives me a warning. Um, but let's look at the charts. Enough of this shenanigans. Um, I didn't even know that the Domino's share price was so high. But on the monthly, this looks amazing. It really does. It's, I mean, obviously it's not parabolic, but good Lord, might as well be. Um, so if we take it off the log chart, you can see that it's pretty. I mean, it looks great, to be honest with you. So if we drew, I don't even know if we can draw a proper trend line. This thing has been so crazy. Maybe we can go down here, down here. It's kind of nuts. Yeah, it looks very strong on a monthly. Now, the only heads up that I can see really quick here is that we have some potential. Well, we've had some RSI divergence here, where we had same or similar price levels over the month, but yet the RSI has been going down. So that is a little bit of a cause of concern. Now we have price jumping even higher, so we have to see how this little tail happens. What happens with this little piece right here? But on the bright side, we actually have a what looks to have like market structure here. Almost, well, that's a crappy W, but you get the point. It's down, up, down, up. There we go. So that is positive. Stochastic tested the bearish region down here, almost oversold, which I don't put too much weight on. But actually, if you went off of the RSI, I mean, you would have gotten this nice all-time low back here in 2008. But yet it was 2008. Everything was at an all-time low. So, but down here, it actually had a little bit of a downtrend here, down to from 302, give or take, down to 220, 216 or so. On the log chart, it doesn't look like much, but if you switch back to the non-log chart, you can see that was people were crying here probably. So let's go to the weekly, because overall on the you know what, I like this chart like this a little bit better, because we can clearly see that we had an M fail there, market structure fail, and then we rallied it back up. Either way, either chart, it's going to respect the 20 EMA, and that looks where on the monthly the price is being respected. So we have almost had a touch there, almost had a touch, several touches down here. We had a slight break, but a quick return above the 20 EMA. Tons of support, briefly broke down, which actually coincides with that stochastic bottoming there. And then broke above it, and then obviously today's earnings has spiked this monthly to all-time highs. So yeah, if you want to go long-term and follow the trend, the 20 EMA seems to be your friend. So let's go to the weekly. On the weekly, we have, it's respecting both the 20 and the 50, but they're both kind of they're both in unison pretty much. They're just dancing up above, above and under each other. So let me see here. I think I'm going to start here in 2018. And I'm kind of curious to see what this parabolic, if there was some sort of an extension that would have worked out from down here to, let's go there. Actually, let's try here first. And then let's do the extensions. So sure enough, we just beat the 1.618. And if we go here, yeah, so there could be a slight push to the 390 region. But we're pretty much already there, I think. Aren't we? 381. So there's still $9 to go if we're gonna hit that one. But I think I like this one better because this one had a slight pullback. So I'll go based off of this. And just for some confluence, let me see if I can get maybe we can get a 2.6 here. Close. Just interesting to see how some of these things correlate. So that this one here would have given me the kind of like a heads up at potential profit taking. Could have done this little section down here too. Let's switch this. I have to make it a point to fix this once and for all. So yeah, we're at the 200% level, which is between 1.618 and 200%. That's typically the profit taking region. So we slightly beat that, and I can see some pullbacks. Depends how everything plays out. So there's no guarantees, but if we do have a pullback, I think something reasonable would be the 38.2, or maybe a retest of this high, which is at 50%. So between 320 and 301, I think that makes sense. There's some horizontal there for confluence, so give or take there. That makes a lot of sense to me. We have another horizontal down here. I don't see it breaking down, to be honest with you. On the weekly, it's, well, had this not happened, let me see. So this would have been, as it there. Yeah, it's hard to go against it. It's on a monthly. It's such a strong. Uh, it was on the channel here on the weekly. On the monthly, it's a different picture from my perspective. On the weekly, we had a nice little range going from pretty much the these two horizontals. So 220 and $300. So $80, range. It's nice. It's nice to play that. So it looked like it was kind of on its way down to test the 200 down here, but with today's earnings, boom. So would it be too bearish unless we retest down here? So if it comes all the way down to the 50% level, just above this horizontal, the $300, I expect some support, the horizontal to act as support there, and then we'll have to see how that whole thing goes. But this is really fresh. We have to see what happens in the next couple of days. The stochastic had rolled over to the 50% level, and even before the news had bounced the 50. So that's, in my opinion, that's bullish. Cross over the D there. And we have the RSI that's also above the 50. And again, that one was even before the earnings. So not too bearish, to be honest with you. Yeah, we do have this even weekly RSI divergence, but hey, fundamental killed that. So we'll see how this all plays out, because maybe this one creates a higher high than here. So we have to see what happens there. That's still kind of a little bit of a question mark. Maybe that's kind of the driver that'll bring this back down to the horizontal here at the $300 mark. So let's look at the daily. And let me get rid of these. Kind of start fresh again. Get rid of this. So on the daily, it would have been a nice, I don't know if you want to call this scalping, but kind of. You could have just been trading the range, and you should have been okay if you would have set a couple of horizontals here. So maybe around here would have been a decent horizontal. You could have kind of played some of these levels. And as you keep going down in time frame, you can keep adding horizontals, but it just kind of dirties everything up for me. So I like to keep it kind of simple. So yeah, I think we're pretty much at the same level. So let me do an extension from here to here to see if we have confluence with what we had seen earlier. Yeah, I think this was probably the same one that I drew previously. So we had this huge gap, landed perfectly between the 168 and 200% profit taking level. It actually went just slightly above that. I wonder if that one was like the 2.13 or such. Let me see. I don't think it was the 2.2. Let's find out. No. Might have been the 2.13, but no biggie. We retraced slightly to the profit-taking level. So my spidey senses say that I think we're going to see that 50% level of the weekly, I believe it was, that brought us down to the 50%, $300 range. So I can see this section here being, like seeing a pullback down here. Now, do we have any kind of divergence on the RSI? Not really. It looks like it's all playing nicely. We had a nice little W there. So this W, actually, you could have possibly seen this W and played that. So seeing this W here, maybe if you would have bought in around here, you would have you could have seen this coming. That would have been actually a sweet little trade, because had you bought there, you would have been pretty much right there, risking to these lows here. And then let's say you wanted to, even if you drew these same extensions and you expected earnings, which I never recommend trading for earnings, because it's just a gamble in my perspective. So if you went up to the 1.618, 3.72, almost a 4-to-1 risk reward, I mean, that's awesome. But even if you risked lower, even if you risked at 2.72, sure enough, you had a 2-for-1. Not 2-for-1, a 2-to-1 risk reward. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean that would have been good. You would have had a couple of things on your side there. First of all, you had this low here. You had a few support and resistances on your. Well, at the time that you would have taken this trade, you would have had the 50 as support and the 20. Yeah, you would have had the 20 EMA, the 50 EMA, and down here the 200 EMA, which is that purple line, all acting as support, protecting your position from being stopped out. At the end of the day, you never know if it's going to happen or not, but yeah, I mean that's just additional confluence. Um, did we ever hit a? Let me see here. So yeah, it was a retracement down to the 38.2, almost on the nose. So if we wanted to do one of my fave retracement tools as well, that goes down here. Let me change this to yellow. In this case, yeah, the 0618 lines up with this profit target, which is usually pretty much on the money. And then, yeah, pretty much just additional confluence. It's basically the same thing. It's just extensions drawn differently to give just an additional confluence, which you don't really need. But anyways, yeah, so that would have been a sweet trade. I never really paid attention to dominoes, but had I seen this daily W, would have been interesting. It would have been an interesting play because obviously it's set up nicely. Now, I don't think I would have taken it because earnings. So whenever you're trading into earnings, it's just typically not a bad idea. And you can kind of get a hint of why it's not a good idea because you could see that it was kind of rejecting the horizontal there. And being at that horizontal, typically that's a shorting area. Usually you sell at resistance, you buy at support. Especially at earnings, this could have been disastrous for some people. And not disastrous. I mean, if you have your risk correctly set and you have your position sizing correctly, then it is what it is. You would have taken the loss. In this case, it worked out in your favor and awesome. But yeah, so dominoes looked pretty sweet. Now, this is all in the past. This already happened. All this action is done. It's over. This trade is done. So what do you do now? You wait. I mean, that's there's nothing else you can say. To kind of give you an illustration of where it's going, it's you need to give it time. But if we were to draw some probable scenario from this swing low to this swing high, which I really wouldn't do it that way. I would do it from here. We got a first target of 402, but realistically, I would do it from here. And so I think we had 402 was the first stop. 402 and up here, 396. So it's not too far off. So maybe like $400 give or take. 396 to 400 would be your first stop target if it keeps kind of pumping. But I'd be surprised. I don't. You never know. At the end of the day, there's no guarantees, and stocks are going to do what they're going to do. I think they're going to be there. There might be a pullback, but if there were a bullish run on this, then between 400 and 428, 396 and 428. I'm sorry, 450 looks like. I know that's not a very clear target, but first off 400, 395 to 400, and then just as it goes. But yeah, I honestly don't see that happening. I see more confluence with a slight pullback to fill in this gap. That's just what makes the most sense. There's a horizontal here, gaps like to get filled, and we had some decent confluence there. And I think if I draw the Fibonacci again from, I don't know, from here it'll work. But sure enough, the 61.8 and 78.6 land perfectly in that zone. And if we draw it all the way down to this swing high, the 50% level is right there. So no guarantees, but there's a very good chance that, in a couple of days you'll see some tests of that 300 horizontal. So yeah, that's basically it. Hopefully this is helpful. I'm kind of glad that I got Domino's on my radar because I had never even thought about it. I mean, we occasionally order from them, but it's nothing too, not that often, but I know that they do some good promotions and they have their marketing game on, and it would have been interesting. But now that the trade is over, we just have to wait to see what happens. I wouldn't do anything. I'm not in this position. And again, always consult a financial advisor before making any trades, any kind of investment decisions. It's just always better to consult your professional when it comes to that. And that is it. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you liked it, please press the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share it. Hopefully somebody that you know will find some value in this. And the more people that see this video, the better it is for everyone, hopefully. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.